Liam arrived at his mother's door on Christmas Eve, arms full of gifts, heart full of hope. But when the door opened, his mother looked him dead in the eye and said, "I think you've come to the wrong house." Shocked, Liam stumbled back, chilled not just by the winter wind but by a cruel truth slowly dawning on him. Why would a family cast out the very son who once saved them? The snow fell in gentle, silent flakes, covering the path behind him like time-erasing footsteps. Liam stood there on the doorstep, motionless. The wooden box wrapped in red paper with a golden ribbon slowly lowered in his arms, as if its weight had just tripled. Inside, laughter rose, soft, joyful, the kind of sound that wraps around a home like a warm scarf. It was the laughter of family, of people who belonged. And yet here he was. He blinked, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Did she not recognize me? Was it a mistake? His breath trembled in the cold, visible in the air, dissipating quickly like the certainty he had moments ago. The door. That door. He had walked through it 100 times before. As a boy muddy from the fields, as a teenager with scraped knees, and finally, as a young man with dreams too big for the quiet town. And now, after 8 months, after everything, he had come home. But the door had closed. His fingers clenched the box tighter. Maybe she didn't hear me right. He reached out a hand, hesitating inches away from the doorbell. His reflection in the frosted window startled him, older, thinner, tired. Not the boy who had left. Maybe she really didn't know him anymore. But then, me. He had said it so clearly. The wind picked up slightly, swirling the snow at his feet. Somewhere in the house, a piano began to play a Christmas tune he knew by heart. She used to play that when he couldn't sleep. Liam took a step back. The house, glowing warmly behind glass and wood, had never felt so far away. His eyes stung, but not from the cold. He wanted to knock again, wanted to scream, to beg, but something in her face, the calm finality of it, had told him not to. So he stood there. 1 minute. Long enough to feel the moment sink in. Then, slowly, he turned and walked down the steps, his footprints quickly swallowed by snow. The snow whispered beneath Liam's boots as he made his way back to the car, its white hush wrapping the night in silence. His breath came shallow, clouding the air before vanishing into the dark. The wrapped gift trembled slightly in his arms. Just as he reached for the car door, his phone buzzed. He pulled it from his coat pocket with numb fingers. His heart jumped, a spark of hope. Maybe she'd explain. Maybe this was all a misunderstanding. He answered, pressing the phone to his ear. Liam, Clara's voice was soft, almost trembling. "Please, don't be upset. But we can't let you in tonight." Liam froze. A wave of disbelief washed over him. He swallowed hard. "Why?" His voice cracked, raw with confusion, aching with betrayal. On the other end, silence. Then Clara spoke again, faltering. "It's just, things are different now. After you left, things got hard. And when you sent the money it helped, but it didn't fix." Another voice cut in. He still thinks throwing money at problems means he gets to be part of the family again. The words hit Liam like a slap, fast, cold, and unforgiving. His lips parted, but no words came. There was a tightness in his chest, a burn behind his eyes, but he refused to let the tears fall. He didn't argue, didn't plead, just silence. Then, quietly, he pressed the screen and ended the call. The car stood before him, a frozen shell under the falling snow. He leaned against it, closing his eyes. Everything felt still. Too still. The kind of stillness that comes after something breaks. He had thought coming home would be enough, that his presence, his effort, his longing would bridge the gap. But he was wrong. The snow kept falling as if trying to cover the wound. But Liam felt every inch of it. Alone. A soft haze blankets the memory, sepia-toned and delicate, as if time itself knew it should tread gently. Liam stands alone in the corner of a modest living room, clutching a cup of tea gone cold. The room is filled with laughter, balloons swaying with each burst of joy. It's Josh's birthday, last year. The cake glows with candles, and everyone circles around, faces lit with celebration. Liam smiles faintly, the kind that never quite reaches the eyes. He's the quiet one in the background, the silent thread holding things together, though no one seems to notice. He watches his mother wrap her arms tightly around Josh. "I'm so proud of you," she says, her voice thick with emotion. Liam's chest tightens. Those words float in the air, warm and tender, and yet they've never been meant for him. Not once. He lowers his gaze as if to shield himself from a truth too sharp. He has become a ghost in his own home, present in action, absent in acknowledgement. Cut to earlier scenes, montage-like in rhythm. Liam at his cramped apartment desk, fingers trembling as he transfers money online. Electric bill, paid. Water, covered. Dad's medication, ordered. Josh's tuition, wired before the deadline. He exhales, leans back in his chair and smiles. A small one. A hopeful one. But none of it is ever mentioned in family calls. No thank you. No recognition. Just quiet expectations met with quiet sacrifice. The flashback fades, and we return to Liam now, sitting in his car, headlights off, staring blankly into the snow. He had never needed applause. Never even needed praise. Just a moment. A glance. A word. Just to know he mattered. But now, the silence feels final. Outside, laughter still spills faintly from the house behind him. Inside, Liam lets the cold seep in. Thanksgiving. The table was a masterpiece: golden roast turkey, mashed potatoes whipped to perfection, cranberry sauce glistening like rubies. The house smelled of warmth and cinnamon, of comfort wrapped in tradition. Liam stood in the kitchen, wiping his hands on a towel, cheeks flushed from hours over the stove. He'd planned the whole dinner, funded it quietly without question. Every ingredient chosen with care. Every dish seasoned with a quiet hope. Maybe this time, I'll feel like I belong. As the family gathered in the dining room, someone called out, "Liam, can you take the family photo?" He froze for half a second, then smiled. "Sure." He lifted the camera, stepped back, and watched them bunch together on the couch, arms linked, cheeks pressed, laughter rising. "Say cheese." And then it was over. No one said, "Come join us." He looked down at the photo. A perfect family, beaming without him. Another day, another moment, sitting across from his father on the back porch. Autumn leaves rustled underfoot, and the evening sun painted the world in amber. "You've always been the strong one," his father said, handing him a beer. "You don't need anything. Not like your siblings." It was meant as a compliment, maybe even praise. But to Liam, it landed like a stone. He smiled anyway, staring out at the horizon. "Yeah, I guess." But inside, he wanted to ask, "Is that why you never ask how I'm doing? Never ask if I'm tired? Lonely?" Being called strong can be its own kind of exile, an excuse not to care, not to look closer. And all those small moments, missed photos, kind but distant words, casual assumptions, stacked like quiet bricks in a wall he hadn't realized they were building. Now, alone again in the winter night, Liam finally sees it clearly. He wasn't forgotten. He was quietly excluded. Back in the present, Liam sat motionless in the driver's seat, hands resting on the steering wheel as if still deciding where to go, but he wasn't. He was already gone. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, snowflakes dancing in the glow of the streetlight. Frost bloomed gently across the windshield, curling like delicate truths long buried. The cold pressed in, but it wasn't the kind that made him shiver. It was the kind that made everything clear. He exhaled slowly, fogging up the glass. Then, reaching into his coat pocket, he pulled out his phone. His fingers moved with surprising calmness. One by one, the threads began to untangle. He opened the banking app, scrolled to the monthly transfer labeled Mom, Rent Support. Cancel. Next, Josh, tuition card. Freeze card. Finally, shared family account. The one he quietly topped up when groceries ran low or someone's car broke down. Close account. It was not revenge. Not anger. Just enough. The screen dimmed in his hand, and he placed the phone face down on the passenger seat. His eyes drifted toward the house, its windows glowing golden, soft shadows flickering behind curtains. Laughter spilled out again, faint but clear. And this time, he didn't flinch. There was no space for bitterness anymore. Only space for air, for quiet, for honesty. Liam leaned back, gaze lifting to the night sky. Snowflakes landed silently on the windshield, then melted, just like expectations, long held, finally let go. For years he tried to earn love in silence. Supporting from the shadows. Hoping someone would see him, not just his strength or his help, but him. They hadn't. And that hurt. But now, in the hush of a frozen night, Liam wasn't breaking. He was freeing himself. The soft hum of the car's heater was the only sound now, wrapping the silence like a fragile blanket. Liam glanced down at his phone, almost by accident. The screen lit up with a quiet insistence, missed calls, one after another, lining the notification bar like a storm he'd tried to drive away from. 37 missed calls. Aunt Susan. Over and over. Like echoes from a house he no longer stood outside of. The buzzing hadn't stopped. Each vibration a tug, a thread trying to sew him back into something that had already come undone. He unlocked the screen. Liam, please call me. Are you okay? What's going on? Mom's crying, just come home. Konoi mi xian loi nu ko gi kong dung. You misunderstood. We didn't mean to hurt you. It wasn't like that. Message after message, filled with apologies that floated just above the surface, soft, pleading, but never touching the truth. Not one of them mentioned what had happened on the porch. Not one of them wrote, I'm sorry we shut the door on you. Not one said, you didn't deserve that. There was regret, but it was regret soaked in discomfort, not accountability. Liam stared at the screen, his thumb hovering over one of the messages. His mother's words sat there like a trembling child. If I did anything wrong. That one word curled something inside him. Outside, snow continued falling, soft, slow, indifferent. He put the phone down again. Not in anger. Not in spite. But because he finally knew, love that avoids truth isn't love at all. It had been 3 days since Liam last saw the house where he once belonged. Now, it was his own door that echoed with knocking. He hesitated, hand on the knob, not out of fear, but out of tiredness. Still he opened it. There they stood, his mother, eyes red and swollen, Clara, shifting her weight awkwardly, and his father, arms crossed, jaw tight. Even Josh stood a few steps behind, not meeting Liam's eyes. Liam, his mother sobbed, reaching forward but stopping short. Jia din la su the Thursday. Family is about forgiveness. We didn't mean for things to go that far. Liam looked at her quietly. Not coldly, just with the kind of calm that came after too many storms. Is it? He asked, voice steady. Then where was that forgiveness when I needed just a hug? A welcome? You gave me a closed door instead. His mother began to speak, but Liam raised a hand, not rudely, just enough to keep the space respectful. His father stepped in, voice sharper. So what now? You're punishing us? Over what? Money? You think that makes you better? Liam inhaled deeply. He pulled out his phone and tapped the screen a few times. The living room filled with the quiet crackle of a recording. Josh's voice played clearly. Koi lai gi jup tien la duak moi toi. No one moved. His mother's hand slowly fell back to her side. Clara bit her lip and looked away. Josh looked like he wanted to disappear. Liam didn't say anything at first. He let the silence settle, let the weight of those words land, not to wound, but to be seen. I didn't want to be repaid, he said finally. I just didn't want to be erased. And with that he stepped aside, not to close the door on them, but to see who would step in with honesty, not just apologies. The silence after the recording still lingered like a ghost in the room. No one seemed to know what to say, as if the weight of unacknowledged years had suddenly become visible. Liam looked at his mother. Her eyes were rimmed with tears, but still searching, for justification, for comfort, maybe for a way to undo what had been done. He spoke gently. Not with anger, but with a trembling kind of grief. Mom, he said, do you remember my birthday last year? She blinked, unsure. Of course No, Liam cut in softly. No one called. No message. Not even a happy birthday. I sat alone that night and tried to tell myself maybe you were just busy. That maybe you'd call the next day. You didn't. Her lips parted slightly, but no words came. Liam turned toward the others. I used to think I was part of this family. I held on to that thought through every late-night bank transfer, every hospital bill, every quiet holiday spent watching you celebrate through your photos. But now I understand. He paused, voice nearly breaking. I wasn't your son. I was your sponsor. Josh scoffed and suddenly flung his phone across the floor, the screen cracking like tension snapping. You're unbelievable, Josh spat. You act like you're the victim, but you left us. And now you want some kind of reward for sending money? You're a traitor, Liam. You betrayed your family. Liam's eyes didn't flinch. No, he said calmly. I'm not a traitor. I'm just finally awake. His voice echoed slightly, as if the walls themselves needed time to absorb the truth. And for once, no one had an answer. Not to defend, not to deny. Just silence, and the slow crumbling of a story they had all pretended to believe. The cold hallway outside Liam's apartment felt heavier with each breath. The silence after his words had not softened the air, it had only deepened the ache. As he reached for the doorknob to see them out, Clara suddenly stepped forward, grabbing his sleeve with trembling hands. Liam, her voice cracked, eyes swollen from crying. Please. We were wrong. I was wrong. But if you leave like this, if you walk away now, we can't fix it. We can't come back from this. Her voice quivered with desperation, with something real. The guilt was there, finally. The ache in her chest, no longer buried under the comfort of denial. Liam looked down at her hand on his arm. He didn't pull away. Not yet. He simply stood there, eyes lowered, as if weighing her words in the palm of his breath. Then quietly he said, You think I'm leaving now, Clara? But I didn't leave tonight. He lifted his gaze, soft but firm. You all left me a long time ago. Little by little. With every forgotten birthday, every closed door, every time I was useful but invisible. I kept hoping, waiting, but at some point, I was the only one still reaching. Clara's tears spilled freely now. We didn't see it, Liam. We didn't see you. I know, he whispered. That's what hurt the most. He gently pulled his sleeve from her grasp, turned, and opened the door. Behind him, his mother broke into sobs, collapsing into his father's arms, screaming his name as if it might bring him back, as if volume could erase the silence they had sown. Liam, she cried. Liam, please. But he didn't look back. His steps were quiet, steady. Through the hallway, into the elevator. No anger. Just release. The kind that comes when you finally stop chasing the love you've begged for too long. And in the hush that followed, the door closed behind him with the softest, saddest click. The small apartment was quiet, save for the soft hum of a tiny Christmas tree in the corner. Its lights blinked faintly, casting gentle shadows on the walls, a subtle reminder of the season's warmth that felt so distant yet strangely comforting. Liam stood by the window, cradling a steaming cup of coffee between his hands. Outside, snowflakes drifted lazily, blanketing the world in silence. The cold air pressed softly against the glass, but inside, the warmth of the coffee seeped into his fingers, grounding him in the stillness. His phone vibrated again on the table, buzzing insistently. Calls, messages, reminders of the family he had left behind and the wounds yet to heal. But Liam had muted the sound, letting the device rest quietly, just like himself. He took a slow sip, eyes never leaving the snow's gentle descent. A quiet voice seemed to rise from within, a soft narration, a reflection born from the heart's deepest corners. Some say family is a place that always welcomes you home. But sometimes, the truth is that you must build that place yourself. You have to create a sanctuary where your spirit can rest, even if it means standing alone. He smiled faintly, the sadness still there, but mingled with a new kind of peace. At least, in solitude, you are not just a walking wallet. You are not an invisible provider or a shadow at the edges of celebration. You are simply you, seen, known, and enough. The snow continued to fall, wrapping the city in a gentle white embrace. Liam sipped his coffee again, feeling the quiet strength of his own presence, the small but steadfast light of his little tree glowing like a beacon in the night. And in that moment, alone but whole, he found a fragile, beautiful kind of peace. Thank you for sticking with this story until the end. If you've ever felt betrayed by your own family, please share your experience in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more emotional and real-life stories like this. See you in the next video.